3 seconds left. This is for the series, this is for the map. One found in mid. Flash forwards. Trying to clear the way here for Sassy to get that plant online, and it's all about the game of those timings. Fights to be taken all over the place. Les, he drops 10s. Kawazine, he finds his own. It's 2 left to stand against it. But this Loud team, you can never count them out. John makes a good go of it. Cove out wide, can't defend it, gotta spray it down on the way, but 2 years, he's just sticking it.
Sentinels lost again and are almost certainly out of the playoffs for Shanghai, which is a big disappointment. They lost 2-0 to Loud, and we're going to take a look here at Lotus, their map pick, where again, they managed to lose 10 of their 12 defensive rounds. So what went so wrong for Sentinels? Well, let's take a look at the actual pistol round to start off with, where again, you're going to see probably a few themes starting to creep in straight away. One is the setup, and Sen just being maybe a little too obvious, and obviously there's a lot of footage of Sen on this map at this point, and it's a problem for them, right? In this round, they are going to have Sassy throw a Fade Horn out towards A. He does this a lot from this position in B. This is something that Sentinels do all the time. Sometimes Tens and Zekken are actually over towards A, and they're using that as part of maybe a little A fight towards the start of the round, right? The Fade Horn out here. Sometimes, like it is here, they have actually the Killjoy and the Viper here, and they're actually playing passive on A, right? So they can mix it up on this setup. The thing is, in this example, is they're going to make it very obvious that this is the Killjoy and the Viper, because these two, Tens and Zekken, are going to come sprinting up here with a one-way up here, right? So there's no illusion here for Les as to who's on A. He knows who's on A. He knows that this is a passive setup straight away, just from what's going on over towards C, because if we come now, you'll see it straight away. Zekken and Tens, they don't make any kind of there's straight away, it's pretty obvious. And even if they didn't get seen, right, the one way makes it pretty obvious, you know, where those players are, and then they try and go for this kind of quick B crunch here as well, right? But that means that Les, like, look at him straight away, right? He straight away knows, okay, this is a passive setup on A, I can go and just take some space, and that's where Loud, you know, after seeing the aggression over towards B, you know, that's where Loud start to come straight away, right? Because, you know, it's a bit obvious off the rip. So, you know, you could make some arguments that Fade Horn, you know, maybe is a bit wasted there, really. It's not really doing much for you. Sassy's Fade Horn, if we're going to be, you know, super obvious about that we're on C, playing aggressive on C. Loud then start to fake, make some noise over towards A. It brings the rotates out from Sen. And then they do something very smart, right? They know that, okay, we've made a lot of noise over towards A. We destroy the Killjoy turret. There's no Killjoy set up here on C to kind of spot us early for Sen to rotate across. We could be coming towards B as well. You know, they're not going to know. This could be just a pause. It's the first round in the game. We haven't really shown them anything yet. So we're going to come to C instead. And there's nothing really wrong here, right? Okay, Sentinels don't know where exactly this hit's coming in. Loud coming in for their hit. Tens decides just to live. He's on his own. Absolutely fine. This is chill. There's nothing wrong. But now, this is where we're going to talk about what Sentinels do next. And this is a tough spot, right? And you're going to see Deadlock on a pistol round. This wall is very, very strong, right? On a pistol round, this is a difficult thing for Sen to do. But I do think that they're just going to rush into a bad decision here, right? Because basically, the spike is going down now. It's not planted yet, right? We're in the process of planting the spike just now. They see this wall, right? Sassy can probably see this wall through this point, right? So they know the wall is there, but they're just going to come and choose to all come CT, right? And they're going to just 5-player come out of CT. They're not going to bother with breaking the wall. Now, breaking the wall obviously would take some time, right? They also don't know if anyone is maybe pushed up here as well, but they're not going to clear that. So even when they do start coming through CT, you know, this is still a worry for them also, because no one comes this way, right? So there's extra things that this decision is gonna basically lead them to just a round where your chances of winning just aren't that high, right? You're all trying to flood out of this small little choke point here. The spike is only just planted now, right? So Sadek is just planting the spike at this point. You can see just there at this point, this isn't a fast flood, right? If you were all here, I could see this working, right? This has a chance. Whilst this guy is still planting the spike, we're just flooding in, going fast, but you're not there in time, right? You were on the other side of the map. You're not there in time. And then you're not taking the time to break this wall. And so by the time, you know, like the spike gets planted now, you know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? Like there's a lot of time there for Loud to get into whatever post plant they want. Right, and as I say, there's more angles that you have to clear because you haven't chosen to really even come to this wall whatsoever. And so, yeah, you know, they give it a half decent try here, Sentinels all flooding out here. But your chances of winning this are really, really slim.
Still got a bit of util left to play with here. As soon as the spike comes through with a nade, Following through with that paranoia, big connections. Ghost though, ripping them apart and the grab net. Significant value there. 3 players just locked and rooted into place here. Sentinels finding it difficult to chew through this one. It's another smoke to try and get them into position, into the site, but it doesn't matter for Loud.
Okay, next one here, round number 4. And again, we're going to see Sentinels' tendencies basically be picked upon, right? Again, so here's the like inverse setup of what I was talking about before, right? Again, Sassy over towards B. He's going to throw the Fate Haunt. This time it is Zekken and Tens out here over towards A. You know, going for a bit of this fight. Okay, they don't really find anything. You know, there's no spam there. But now Sen are going to go for this, right? They're going to go for this really aggressive aggro 3-man, you know, re-clear of B, right? The Prowler comes out and they're going to try and get aggressive on this guy just here, right? So try and Prowler him. You know, Tweets recognizes in trouble, goes for the flash. Loud are there to support him, right? So Loud, I mean, instantly are there as well. You know, they know what's coming here straight away. I mean, look at the map right here, right? Like, even if they did come and swing Tuis, Loud are there to deal with it, which again is a sign that Sen, you know, Loud knew what they were doing. But then we have the tendency of this as well. This is something that Sentinels do a lot also. We've tried to be aggressive. You know, it hasn't worked out. You know, we've had to cancel. You know, they omen flashes, whatever. We couldn't be aggressive. And now they just fully leave. And so straight away, Loud come in for the call. Like, okay, let's, you know, just contact walk into B where they just were. Because this is another thing that Sen do a lot. You know, I've seen them do this a lot as well, where we've been super aggressive in a big stack. We just fully leave, right? We don't leave anyone there. Thinking that Loud wouldn't, you know, go for this kind of silent re-clear in behind it. But because Sen, again, it's just kind of a tendency that they have, and obviously there's so much footage of it, you see that in this round, like, you could tell that Loud knew exactly what was going on, right? And they end up hitting onto an empty site straight away, and Sen aren't there to do anything about it. The spike goes down, and again, you're in a bad spot.
No misplays, no fumbles. So into the post plant we go for Loud.
And they played these B post plants way too passively against C9. So it's nice to see 2 players up and aggressive here, QCK and Sadak.
And make sure to play those 4 positions. QCK inside the smoke, takes the timing. And with that, Rocket earned. The kill gained. And this retake just looking really so unlikely for Sentinels. They realize it. Immediate backing away. Got to keep those rifles into the next if you want to stand any chance on the long-term plan.
Okay, so you might say a bit unlucky there for Sen, but let's come to the next one, round number 6. And in this one, they're going to do more of a default play, right? So 3 players, our Fade, Raze, Omen, are going to come out towards A. We got Killjoy stuff on B. We got our Killjoy Viper C. Like, this is kind of the normal stuff, you know, that you expect. You see a lot of it. Whatever, right? This is fine. And actually, the start of this round goes fine. They win this A rubble fight, right? Tens gets up on top here, right? Like, we're chilling. No problem. Now, that turret sees Tuis, right? And then Loud are going to come and do a C default. They break the alarm bot. They open the door. Right? Keep this in mind for what happens later in the round, right? That they've taken this control. The turret has gone off. Now, they hear maybe a TP in there from the Omen, so actually Sassy is going to re-clear B with a Prowler, right? He sends out the Prowler, sees if anyone's there. The turret doesn't get destroyed. Prowler sees no one. They feel like, okay, this is clear, right? We're getting some pressure on C here from Loud, from QCK. They're going to come back towards A, though, and try and re-clear A. And Sen, at this point, are chilling. Right, we're chilling. We're in a decent spot. Nothing is too bad at this point. You know, the wall comes up from Loud. Okay, we send a Fate Haunt. You know, Prowler gets destroyed. Tens decides to get out of there. You know, he actually gets out of C's. There's a Snakebite down there as well from Loud. And they get out the Omen Flash. Okay, they used a lot of util, and we just TP'd out, and we lived. Good, right? This is good. But what they do next, Sentinels, makes no sense of what's happened in the round prior, right? Where, again, you're going to see, I mean, Sadak kind of misses this wall, but what you're about to see happen next is these two here, Zekken and Sassy, are going to try and pinch on C, as far as I can tell, by opening this door. Right? That's kind of what it looks like. Now, I'm not 100% on that, but it just looks like that because eventually Zelsis, just for a brief moment, like comes in here, right? Looking like he's ready to do this as well. So that's what it looks like they want to do. But keep in mind, Sassy at this point has used both of his Prowlers, so he has no Fade utility left to deal with this. Zekken does have a Boombot to send out this way, but just think about this. The earlier in the round, of course, Tuis has been up here, right? Yeah, sure, he didn't destroy the turret or whatever, but we heard him TP. They've opened the door, and there's no reason that I could see that someone from Loud couldn't even be right by the switch, right? That they could be on this side. So yeah, this is going to go bad for Sen, but there's just, I mean, you could argue there's no need for it because they have the turret is still up here anyway on B. So you could argue that there's no need to get this aggressive just at this moment in time. But doing this doesn't make sense for the round that you're in anyway, right? So you can just see here, it looks like they're kind of backing up to walk this way, right? But as I said, someone could have been here, I think. Like, this could have been a disaster in multiple ways for Sen. And it ends up being a disaster just there, but like for the round that happened, when Loud have come and cleared all of this out and they have opened the door, that play isn't available to you, right? Especially if you're not going to use any util to, you know, re-clear the space as well. It's definitely not available to you then. And it costs us this round. Okay, next one here isn't necessarily a mistake by Sentinels. It's actually something that I think is quite cool that they do, but you'll still see that it can have some problems sometimes. So I'm going to call this agent swapping, where you're going to see we've got 3 players out here towards A, right? And we're going to send Boombot down here. We're going to send Fadehorn out here, right? We're going to, either smoke is on its way as well. That looks like the normal A smoke, right? So this seems like, okay, this is just a normal A take with the 3 players like we saw before, right? Killjoy, Viper are going to be somewhere on B and C being more passive, right? And that's what Sentinels want you to think, because they've swapped the Viper with the Omen, right? And you see that this actually kind of works, that as Loud, you know, get that information that, hey, you know, the Boombot's here and the smoke's here and whatever, Loud go, okay, let's fast default towards C, and so they come running into Tenz's up. Right, so there you go. Now, whilst that's going on as well, we've got Zeltis out here because he's here to destroy the Fadehorn, you know, for Tens here, right? So that he can just continue to op this. So this is cool by Sentinels, right? This is a nice, cool, like, you know, we got him, like, cool idea. The problem is that your Killjoy normally isn't just out in the open like this, right? Normally your Killjoy ain't here. And that's for good reason. Killjoy can't get out of this. And so Zelsis dies as well. And now that's our Killjoy stuff down. And now, you know, Loud can go and take the space on B as well. And now we're in big trouble, right? So this is just an example of, like, not necessarily a mistake by Sentinels, but sometimes that, you know, some of these setups that they go for, you know, you can run into scenarios like this where, yeah, it's cool, you fake them out, you got them, right? But you can still end up in a bad spot, you know, just because of the way that it then plays out after the fact, and Zelsis can't escape. The next one here, though, is just a disaster.
Winning rounds for Loud, putting pressure on Sen.
It matters most. Tens, this is so damn bold right now. ADS in a way.
And do you pit off that contact?
Barely surviving. I mean, the pit's not going to be offloaded here, but mainly because John QT's not in position for it.
He was, though. When Tens first took contact, they're just not trying to invest this ult.
But they're going to go fast through this one. Look at this. It's annihilation and nade rebounds. Brought up decay damage. It all adds up.
Okay, so this one I just don't get. I really don't get it. Let's just start with the what happens between these two. I don't understand. Right, so Tens straight away, you can see he's being super aggro, right? I can only assume here that John, it was the literal last round when Zelsis got caught out here, right? That John is saying, okay, I'm not going to make the same mistake. I'm here to shoot this Fadehorn and I'm going to be safe. That's the only thing I can really think here. Which, okay, sure, maybe, but with Tens playing this aggro, this just looks like it doesn't make any sense. Right? This just doesn't look like it makes sense. And honestly, from even Ten's perspective as well, right? This is too risky. You don't have an op anymore, right? You're not one-waying this off. This is just crazy. And he almost dies. And rightfully so, he almost dies. He probably should die for that. He's lucky he doesn't die. And John is not in position to trade. And then, as Sideshow and Brenner kind of alluding to on the cast as well, like, John is in position to pit this. Tens just saw like 3 people. Right? It's actually 4 as we can tell from the map. But he saw a lot of people there. A lot of people were shooting at him. We could pit this if we want to. But we don't. Right? And okay, Tens gets out. It's not a disaster just yet. Right? We're in a 5v5. Okay, we got info in the end of the day. It's not the end of the world. But now we're just kind of, we're sleepwalking a bit here. And you could tell by John, he's just looking at the minimap, right? You can tell by this. Doesn't have his gun out. His knife is out in a bad spot. You know, they're about to get Fade ulted and Deadlock ulted. If we were on it and playing around opponents' ults, you know, they're playing for their ults because this is a crucial round. You know, you're on low money. Like, they know you're on low money. They're going to use their ults. We're not using ours. They're using theirs, though. So be ready for it. But we're in, like, if you're thinking, like, Deadlock ult, Fade ult, you don't want to be standing around these positions. Right? This is not where you want to be. Tens initially isn't in that position, but he's going to TP into it because I think he thinks like, oh, I need to Omen flash this from back here, right? So where John is now, I mean, you can see like, you know, John, he's surprised by this, right? He's like, oh, Fade ult? yeah, Fade ult. And I think Tens, you know, he's going to try and TP across here. He ends up TPing into the Raise Nade, I think because he's thinking, I need to be here to Omen flash them so they can't get in. But instead, whilst he's Fade ulted and low and decayed, he ends up just TPing straight into a nade. And there's other things in this as well, right? That like Tens, again, you've been here, you've seen them, right? Okay, you had to run away. Okay, cool, cool, cool. You know, Loud actually start kind of running it down, right? They are running, making noise, running. Smoke this, please. Can we get a smoke here? Smoke, smoke, smoke. TP into nade. John's naded as well. He has to swing. No smoke. That is tough. That is a tough, tough round. Arguably full of many little mistakes there. Okay, final one here. I mean, it speaks for itself, really. Like, we don't need to analyze this in any depth, but whilst the round plays, I'll just explain what's going on. So Sonic gives them a free one here. You know, he just gives them a kill straight off the rip, but then just, I mean, what do you want me to say? And that's what this game is full of, right? It's just full of those little, or big mistakes, you might call that, but just full of mistakes, right? Sloppy play, and yeah, sure, that as we saw in some of the earlier rounds as well, Loud had a good read of what Sen were doing, and Loud knew where to go and when to do it, and that's a problem for Sen, and that's a somewhat unavoidable problem that they have right now. I mean, they don't have to pick Lotus. They could pick other. There are other maps available, but other than that, they do have that problem. There is so much footage out there, and teams have a very good read of what they're doing. And so, yeah, it's tough for them right now for that reason. But I think you could tell, but from this footage, it's not just that, right? It's not just that teams have footage. There is slop, like littered throughout Sen's games right now. There is mistakes being made that were not being made before, and that teams are punishing them for it. Right, and yeah, that's gonna cost Sen their chance here, really, making the playoffs, and it's not great, it's not great, and yeah, Sen won't be making Shanghai, but maybe that will give them the time they need to kind of reinvent themselves.